Today's video was brought to you by Jackery.
Hi, I'm Sherri, and I have a tiny house here in Durango, Colorado. And this is it, and I'll be happy to show you around. So let's come inside. So this is the living room area, which came mostly furnished. This reclining sofa came with the tiny house and some of the pictures on the walls and some of the shelves. Also, it came furnished with a TV and a lot of shelving over here and some of the light fixtures like this lamp. And I added a few other things here, some hooks to hang jackets, dog leash, and a few other items. And over here I have some of the things that were my son's and a few other things that I've had for a long time that are somewhat sentimental. And then we have some extra, just a little storage cabinet here and a space that I have for mail. I tried to find a few different little wooden boxes just to store things in and try to make it a little less cluttery. So, those are things you can find pretty easily around at thrift stores and Home Depot and places like that if you're trying to make your own storage. I do have, some little hobbies I've tried to do in here, and some of it is I've started a lot of kale seeds, flower seeds, a little garden, and that's why I like a lot of the windows. I've got a lot of natural light. I put up some shelving here for that. And sometimes I have a little, book nook I read over here. Relax or maybe watch a little TV. I did get a little table here. It's a little laptop table that folds out, and that's helpful when, when you're trying to do anything on a computer or has a little kind of workspace. I went tiny because after moving to Durango, one of the issues is the high cost of housing and rentals. And I had looked into, for a few years, different tiny homes and decided that that was the route I would take. It's turned out to be a pretty good decision because it's energy efficient, and I found a nice tiny home village to move it to, which is in a beautiful valley, and that's worked out well so far. The first tiny house I looked at was over in Pagosa Springs early May last year, and then I looked at a few other ones online, and then I saw one that was advertised by Cedar Lake area, and so I decided to check that one out and made a decision early October to purchase the house and have it relocated, which turned out to be fairly easy. It's pretty straightforward. Local towing truck company actually moved it and did a very good job, and that was a pretty inexpensive route to having it moved and set up.
Hey everybody, Chris here from Tiny Home Tours. Today I want to share with you a new product from Jackery. If you are thinking about living on the road or have dreams of living on the road, this is a great option for your power bank. I'll be using my Jackery this winter for a project my girlfriend and I are going to be working on. So we're going to be living in this bus off-grid for 4 months. While my school bus does have over 2,000 watts of solar power, the place where we're going to be parked in northern Wisconsin is heavily treed. To maximize the amount of power we can actually get into the bus, we ended up getting this Jackery. The reason for that is, with this particular unit, you're able to move it out into the sun. 200 watts of power can go directly into the unit itself. Then we're able to charge our electronics, our laptops, and any other devices that we need, and that will save power on the main power bank of the bus. So I've been very blessed to be on the road for over 12 years now, and I've definitely learned that every watt of power is important. So having this Jackery power bank will be a massive help in our power preservation. So not everybody's going to want to live off the grid in the winter in a school bus. However, if you are considering a camper van, a school bus, and you're wanting a quick and easy way to get a power system in your rig, this unit's great. I know a lot of people on the road, a lot of people we've filmed, actually have a Jackery unit with the panels, so you get 200 watts of power and a pure sine wave inverter with the unit itself. So you're able to charge all your electronics, all your gear, and then not have to go into the full investment of the time, energy, and money to get a full system installed in your rig. Once again, I want to say thank you for Jackery for sponsoring this video. Enjoy the rest of today's video.
This is the kitchen area, which has a pretty large butcher block countertop and some appliances and a few other storage under here. Also, I got some wooden boxes and just to use for storage since I don't have drawers. This is an old wine box that I just use for extra drawers. And then this cabinet has a mix of dishes and food items in here. And I put some other little shelves in here. There's little LED lights under here under the counter. And there's also, the way this was built on the trailer, there's another little ledge here that I used to store olive oil and a few other utensils and things on that. And then this came with the tiny house, these baskets, which are nice for storage if you have things like tea and other small items that you want to use a lot. So I utilized that a little bit. Came with a sink. It has just a little area here for a dish drying rack, and it came with a full-size fridge. And then over here on this side, the stairs has some under the stair storage for clothing, and there's a vacuum cleaner under here that fits a little bit. And then there's another storage under here that has some camping gear and some dog items. There's a few other little bins under the stairs that I just use for boots and shoes, kind of fit in here. Trying to get a better system with that. And then there's another nook here that just has a cordless vacuum in it, which is pretty handy, so I just leave it there. Back here is a little more storage. And this was like a pantry that had a bunch of shelves in it, which I took out and just added some hooks and a rod so I could hang, so I have more clothing as a closet. And then this is just a drawer with some silverware and cutlery, and this has some mostly bakeware, glassware, and some extra dishes under here. So I've tried to utilize the space and make the best of the space, which I'm still trying to figure out a little bit, because the high ceilings, you can build shelves up there and store more items. I'm still trying to figure that out a little bit. I have electric, it's kind of old, it's a little electric 2-burner, and I usually put it up here and cook with this. One day I hope to, since it does have gas, hook up under the sink, have this cut out and put a little gas range in the counter, maybe a 2-burner. But so far I've just used this little electric burner and store it under here, under the sink. There's a little space. This is just a regular microwave, which came with the tiny house. And this is a convection oven. It's not real fancy. It does have a pizza button, a warm, broil, defrost, toast, bake. And I mostly just use it for making homemade pizza. And it's perfect for that, but I haven't used it for much of anything else yet. These shelves came with the tiny house with the little cup hooks under here. And then I found another little wooden storage box at a thrift store, which most of the tea boxes fit pretty well in here. So I just kind of put that up there so I can easily reach my tea, and can boil hot water with this little coffee maker. So it's a pretty simple system. It needs maybe a little bit more work, but you know, just to make it stand up, I just put a little nail under here. But it's these little, I like these little wooden boxes because you can use them for a lot of different things. I do have like just a few things up here on top of this cabinet, and then the mini split unit is up there, which works perfectly. This tiny house is very well insulated. I think my utility bill so far has been $40 a month. And it also came with these little key hooks here. So I just left it there because it seems like a good place to drop your keys and things. And very convenient. I don't lose my keys too often, so. Some of the things is sort of like an RV where, you know, you have to get a heated hose and insulate that, which wasn't very difficult. Actually, you can look it up on YouTube, and there's a lot of videos about how to get the water reducer and where to do everything just so. And then skirting, you know, the tiny villages have different requirements, but Most require you to have some type of skirting around the outside, which also protects everything for the winter. The only thing I guess that I didn't really expect, probably just the storage issue. That is still trying to figure out how to better organize things or have more storage. Not like you can buy things in bulk, but at this tiny home village, you're required to have a shed of a certain size. So that was helpful, where you do have outside storage. And also when I had the skirting installed, the guys asked if I wanted to have like a bump out in the back of the tiny house, and they made it where you can open up the back and you can store items under there. So that's additional storage, like for a wet vac and some other items that can be stored under. Also, I had to have some of the plumbing redirected when they installed the toilet, and they just had to redirect it to where it would go to the central sewer, but that wasn't a very big deal or anything. It's just one of those things that you don't always think about, where you park it and you have to have the water connections and sewer connection, but it wasn't a big issue. Upon selling my home in another state, I did have some help, which was really appreciated because it just felt like an overwhelming situation where I was trying to downsize a garage and a pretty large house. So I did discard a lot of items. I gave things away. I sold things on a social media platform and gradually downsized. But it's definitely doable, and it does help if you have a friend helping you to sort through things. And if you're a sentimental person and you have a lot of sentimental items and like over 200 books that you inherited, it can actually be done. It just takes a little time and thought, and actually you can take pictures of some things that you want to remember and then donate the rest. This is the back end of the tiny house, the bathroom, and it has a small sink over here in the corner and a medicine cabinet with a mirror. This is just a lot of shelves up top here that go all the way to the ceiling, and there's some art which came with the tiny house. I put in this little rack here, like a storage rack over the toilet thing, and actually it came with an insulated toilet, which was not allowed in this tiny home park, so I had to have this toilet installed, which is one of the water efficient models that I had put in. And then there's a shower here, a nice shower. It does have LED lighting up here, and it does have a 60-gallon water tank, a storage tank under the shower. Also back here, more storage up to the ceiling, and there is a washer dryer hookup over here in the corner, but I haven't had any appliance hooked up yet or decided which one I'm going to get, if I want to get the washer dryer combo. That's about the only thing that would actually fit there. There is a little storage cabinet here. I put a few little holders here, just corks with screws, so I could hang hats and things under here. And then there's a on-demand hot water heater on the outside wall, which works very well. It's very energy efficient. And I have 2 windows here in the bathroom, which give a lot of natural light, which I really appreciate. And then there's also another shelf on this wall with another medicine cabinet. I think when they built it out and they painted this white later, you can tell it was a different color, but it makes it feel brighter and open and a lot larger than most bathrooms I've seen in tiny homes, so I appreciated that. But it does have a lot of storage. That's one thing to look for if you ever decide to buy a tiny home. I would say if you're thinking about, they do have some that you can rent in some areas, like a Airbnb type, which they did have one here recently in the park right next to me, but it was recently sold and someone took it to a new place. But that's an option in some areas. Also do some research. There's a lot of research on the internet about tiny homes, and I've been actually watching that trend for a few years. I also did a little research about, is this a good investment? There was a lot of information about that prior to the COVID pandemic, but then after that, it seemed like it changed with the whole housing situation. I even talked to my brother-in-law, who knows a lot about investing in that type of thing, and some people said, well, it's iffy, it might not be a good investment, but I thought, well, I'm just going to take a leap of faith. Hopefully it's a wise decision. After selling my house, I had tried to figure out what to do with the money, or should I rent? What, you know, it was a little bit confusing to know what to do next, but this seemed like the best solution at the time, and it still seems like it was a good decision, and I don't regret it. It's actually kind of fun, and then you meet a lot of people in the tiny home village that are, you know, it's a nice community, and people are pretty open and, you know, want to share, well, I'd like you to come see my tiny house, or what I've done, or some ideas, and everybody seems to be really open and friendly here. So that's been a good decision so far. A couple of my neighbors, one's a veterinarian across the street, and another one is, we work in the same field, doing some home health care, and met a few hiking buddies and found that we have some things in common. So that's been a big plus right there, just to have a nice community of people. And most people are pretty outdoorsy, so if you're outdoorsy, you don't really have to worry about spending too much time in your tiny house. And there's always something to do outdoors here, so that's a plus. So this is the master bedroom, and this is a memory foam king-size mattress. There's 3 little windows up here which open, and they also have shades. It does get a little warm up here, so I like to leave these open sometimes just to get some air up here. And I have a couple of little storage boxes. One's a wine box, one's an old wooden Pepsi box, and another type of wooden box that I bought little storage collapsible bins that fit inside of the boxes. So I use that for clothing. And then I have a little 3-drawer unit I got from Walmart. And it looks like wicker, and you just, you know, I just use it for socks and little small things. And they do have some lighting up here. It's just a rug over the wooden floors up here in the loft. Not a whole lot of storage, so, but enough, you know, where I have this is actually a little aluminum camping folding table here with a lamp, and just has a alarm clock, radio up here. Just minimal what I need up here to sleep, and cat's mostly taken over this space, but it's very cozy, and it's a good place to have a book nook, and if you like to read. And it's very quiet, so it's a comfortable space. This is Sherri Adler, and I'm glad to show you my tiny home here in Durango, Colorado. And I'm on Facebook as same name, and also Instagram, just underscore between my first and last name, Sherri _ Adler. And if you have any other questions, be sure to follow up on that, and I'll be happy to assist in any way that I can. For more information, you can look up at the end of this video. There'll be more information about the tiny home tours. Thanks for watching my tour.